Now we're on page 4, looking at number 10. Number 10 talks about trinomials that have a number here in front of the variable squared term that's not 1. Okay, now we saw in section 9.6 that factoring these trinomials was a little more difficult because there is a certain level of uncertainty, but it can be done. So since we're going to be factoring this trinomial, we know that we can set up our factor brackets. Now what I always like to do is see if the first term or the last term has more of a certainty to its factors. This is what I mean. 3p squared. Well, we know that 3p squared only comes from 3p times p, because they both have to have a p. So we know that this one will be 3p and this one will be p. If you switch them, that's fine. Now, it's this back number that gives us the most trouble. We know that the two numbers need to multiply to get -5, but when everything gets computed, this middle number needs to come out to be a -2. Now, if you remember, this term is going to match up with this term, and this term will be multiplied to this term. So we've got 1 and 5. And the 1 and the 5 will be going in here, but we're not really sure which one goes where and which one's supposed to be negative. So we guess and check. If we had 1 here and 5 here, that would be a 1p and a 15p. Well, no matter which one is negative, 1p and 15p will not combine to get a -2. If we put the 5 here and the 1 here, that would be a 5p, and 3p times 1 would be 3p. So a 5p and a 3p, that sounds good. But we want it to come out to be negative. So our 5, we want to be negative. So -5 times p gives you -5p. 3p times 1 gives you a positive 3p. When you combine -5p with positive 3p, you get your -2p. So the factors for this polynomial, 3p minus 5 and p plus 1. On to the next one. 2n squared plus 3n minus 9. Well, 2n squared has a very certain factor. 2n and n. Now these last two numbers are what give us the most trouble. We have -9. Now we're not sure which one is negative, so we won't pay attention to that just yet. But all the ways to get 9 by multiplying are 1 and 9 and 3 and 3. Now either 1 and 9 will get plugged in here with one of them negative to satisfy that 3n, or 3 and 3. Let's see what we can get with 1 and 9 first. If 1 is here and 9 is here, then the 1 would match up with the n, and the 2 would match up with the 9. So 1 times n would be 1n, 2n times 9 would be 18n. 18n and 1n will not combine to get 3n, no matter which one is negative. So what if we put 9 here and 1 here? That'd be a 9n and a 2n. That doesn't work either. That won't come out to be 3. So we know it's going to be 3 and 3. But now the question is, which one is positive and which one is negative? If we let this one be positive, then that would be a positive 3n and a -6n. That's not going to come out to be positive. So we know it must be negative here and positive here. -3 times n is -3n. 2n times 3 is 6n. -3n and positive 6n come out to positive 3n. We found our factors. On to the next one. 6x squared plus 7x minus 49. So this one has two uncertain terms. There's a couple ways to get 6. There's 1 and 6, or 2 times 3. For 49, we have 1 times 49 and 7 times 7. Okay. Let's open up our factor brackets. So we've got this middle term as a 7. That's a hint. We could do guess and check if we wanted, or we can just fill in the last number. Let's try guess and check. So if we did 1x and 6x, let's try this set of factors in here, and then try this one. So if we had 1 here and 49 there, 1 would line up with 6x, and then this one would line up with the 49. 49 and 6 will not combine to get 7. What about 7? If we plug in a 7 here, that would be 7 times 6 would be 42. And then this 1 times 7 makes 7. 42 and 7 will not combine to make 7. So we can eliminate 1 and 6 as our starting factors. Let's try again. We know it's going to be 2 and 3 by process of elimination. Let's think about 1 and 49 in here. If 1 was here and 49 there, that would combine to be 3 and 98. That's definitely not going to come out to 7. And my intuition tells me that that's just not going to work. Let's try 7s. Now, is it going to be minus 7 here and plus 7 there, or the other way around? This middle term is what's going to give us that answer. So if we let this one be minus, it would be a negative 21x and a positive 14x. That's not going to work. Meaning this one's positive and this one's negative. Let's check. 7 times 3x, 21x. 2x times negative 7, negative 14x. 21x and negative 14x do combine to give us our 7x. So the factors of this trinomial are 2x plus 7 and 3x minus 7. This is a really good example of you're not going to always get it right the first time. You might try one thing, have to go through 3 different steps to figure out that you didn't get the right answer, and start completely over. But that's okay.